Hello everyone and welcome. Today we are going to discuss how instructors can use CourseLink to prepare and submit final grades to the registrar. To simplify this process, OpenEd has created the Final Grade Download tool, a custom widget that can be found within your CourseLink course site. It's used to create a file containing final grades in a format that can then be submitted for upload into the registrar's colleague system. All instructors can access the Final Grade Download tool from the widget on their course homepage. Before submitting, instructors should be reviewing and confirming student grades and making adjustments as necessary. Although the widget will provide a file suitable for the registrar, individual departments may have their own additional requirements for final grade submission. Instructors should inquire with their own departmental administrators to get a full understanding of their department's expectations. To review the final grades for your course, select Grades from the navigation bar. Then select the Enter Grades tab. This page is where all grades will be entered for your course, either manually or populated from other tools from within CourseLink, like quizzes or the drop box. Based on your gradebook's configuration, these grades will then be used in your course's final grade calculation. Before you submit your grades for the semester, you will want to validate the final grade and make any necessary adjustments. To do this, we will navigate to the Final Calculated Grade and Final Adjusted Grade columns. These columns should already be populated according to your grade item weightings. We should note here that the final grade columns are never released to students. If you notice that there are no grades in your Final Calculated Grade column, you can do the following. Click on Settings. Then click the Calculation Options tab. Scroll to the bottom of the page and confirm that Automatically Keep Final Grades Updated is checked. You should also consider enabling the Treat Ungraded Items as 0 option before you submit your final grades. This will ensure students who did not turn in their assignments or did not take a test will receive a grade of 0 on those items. Click Save to return to the calculation options. Then click Close to return to the Manage Grades screen. Adjusting a final grade lets you explicitly set the final grade value for the student, superseding any value automatically calculated by the system. You may not always need to adjust a student's final grade, however, if you do, you will do so using the Final Adjusted Grade column. To adjust students' final grades, select Grades from the main nav bar and make sure you're on the Manage Grades tab. Scroll down the Grade Items table to find the Final Adjusted Grade item. From the corresponding context menu, select Enter Grades. You will now land on the Final Grades screen where you are presented with a column displaying the current final calculated grade and a column to provide a final adjusted grade. You can individually transfer grades from the final calculated to the final adjusted grade column by selecting the transfer arrow in each row. You can also choose to move up to the Final Grades title, select the context menu, and then select Transfer All. This action will transfer all the final calculated grades over to the Final Adjusted Grade column, overwriting any previous changes, as well as saving any other unsaved changes on the page. After accepting, you will return to the Enter Grades page, where you can now navigate to the student records that require an adjustment. In the Final Adjusted Grade column, update the values for both the numerator and denominator. When adjusting grades, note that there is no need to round your grades to remove decimals. When you download the Final Grades file, all grades will be automatically rounded based on conventional rounding practices. So, grades greater than or equal to 0.5 will be rounded up, and grades less than 0.5 will be rounded down. With the grades adjusted, select Save and Close to return to your Manage Grades tab, where you should now see the updated Final Adjusted Grade. In the case that your student should instead receive an instructor recommendation code for this course, such as an INC or incomplete value, the Final Adjusted Grade column should just be left blank. We'll cover how to add the recommendation code in the next section. It may be necessary for instructors to provide their students with a final alpha grade, such as INC, for incomplete, or an MNR, for mark not recorded. To enter these alpha values, you will first need to add a new column to your grade book. This requires leaving the Enter Grades area, so be sure to save any changes you may have made. Under the Manage Grades tab, click New and select Item. Choose Text as the grade item type. In the name field, enter Final Alpha Grade. The column name must match exactly as shown, otherwise the final grades download will not work. Once the name has been set, we will move to the Restrictions tab. Then select Hide from Users. Then click the Save and Close button. We can now set the instructor recommendation codes by scrolling down to the Final Alpha Grade item. And from the context menu, selecting Enter Grades. We can now find the appropriate student records. Then enter the correct 3-character instructor recommendation code in the Final Alpha Grade column. Ensure that the instructor recommendation code is entered as all caps and either INC for incomplete or an MNR for mark not recorded. Click Save and Close to return to the grades screen. You can then confirm your changes were made. To submit your final grades to the registrar, OpenEd has created the Final Grade Download tool that allows you to download your final grades from your CourseLink homepage. To do this, first find and enter the desired course's homepage. Then locate the Final Grades Download tool widget. You may need to scroll down to see it. If your degree program course site is only associated with a single course code, you should only see the option to download final grades. Go ahead and select that option. The file will either save to your default downloads folder, or you may be prompted to save the text file. If you are using Safari, you may need to edit the file name and remove the HTML extension that would have been appended to the file. If you have multiple course codes combined into one course site, for example a cross-listed course, you will be presented with a button for each course code. Like before, you will need to select the button for each course code to download a grade file specific to that course. The file will contain only one final grade for each student, so you will want to make sure you have configured your gradebook correctly. The export process considers the Final Alpha Grade column first. So, the INC and MNR values. If there is no value in that column, the grade from Final Adjusted Grade will be used. If that column is also empty, the final calculated grade value will be exported as a default. If you have any students with an INC grade value, the tool will automatically generate an IRF form for those students. If you select the View button next to each student, it will create a pre-filled IRF form in PDF format. These forms are generated based on the data available within CourseLink, but instructors must still review and complete any missing information before submitting it to the appropriate party. Don't forget to check with your department regarding their requirements, procedures and timelines for submitting your final grades. It is possible that you or your department will require a hard copy printout of your final grades. To accommodate this, launch a spreadsheet program, such as Microsoft Excel, and create a new workbook. From the main menu, use the search to find, Get Data from Text. You can then navigate to the final grades download file on your computer's hard drive. If you didn't rename the file, it will be named something similar to this. Once the file is selected, click the Import button. This will trigger the text import wizard that will require the following options be selected. Select Delimited for the original data type. And enable My Data has headers. Then next. Turn off tab as a delimiter. And enable comma. You can then select Finish. When prompted to select where the data should be imported into the spreadsheet, make sure your cursor is on the cell A1. Then click OK. Review the imported data in the spreadsheet to confirm it is correct. From the File menu you can save and print by selecting the appropriate options from the File menu. One final and important note. Student grades are considered confidential and sensitive, meeting the criteria of Security Level 3 data. You should ensure to follow the appropriate University of Guelph data guidelines when storing, transmitting and destroying this data. This wraps up our walkthrough of submitting semester grades from CourseLink. If you are still experiencing issues, Brightspace does offer an additional video resource to troubleshoot some of the more common issues related to the grade book. If you still find yourself in need of further assistance, please contact CourseLink support at extension 56939 or by email at courselink@uogguelph.ca. Thanks for watching.